Thank you.
Next up, we've got Rob C, who is a Plymouth musician, singer-songwriter. He's created lots of albums, and I've actually got 3 of his albums here. He's got way more than this, but we've got The English Spring, Home Sweet Home, and Shagov Ear Food. Can you let me know what Shagov means? Is that...
I'm still waiting for somebody to tell me.
All right.
It was the name of a party, actually, that we used at the first. It was the place where we first did our first gig. There's somebody else on here who's at that gig, who played in that gig as well.
It's not them.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's it. It doesn't mean anything, really.
Oh.
Although people used to think it stood for shabby government.
Oh, okay, cool.
Which probably even more appropriate now. Actually, it was appropriate then. It was major then. No, it's the Johnson. All right, so am I on?
Yeah, you're on, yeah.
Thank you. All right, first of all, I'd like to say hello to everybody, and in particular one of my partners in rhyme who I haven't spoke to in a while, Brian. Hello, mate. Nice to see you there. If I'd known you were going to join us, I would have reminded myself of one of the songs that we've written together and played one of those, but I haven't. But I'm going to start with a new song, actually, because it's a good opportunity. I've not been able to go out and do gigs these days to actually, try some new stuff out. And this is one I've co-wrote with another person who joined us tonight. He's still here, yeah, Cy Hackers. We've been kind of keeping ourselves busy and sane during lockdown, sending stuff to each other, making Zoom phone calls and recording some songs which we're putting online and sort of doing videos with everything. I don't know what, we're just trying to keep alive, really. The first song I'm going to play is pretty much a new song, actually. I think it was written this year. I don't know when. Simon sent me the words or some of the words, and I wrote a tune to it, and then we kind of knocked it back and forwards a bit, and I think it's nearly finished. We're still debating. I won't play the instrumental section in the middle, but so it's a song about it directly kind of refers to the situation that lots of us have been in over the last 10 months or so, particularly musicians. The song's called Last Band Standing, which is probably quite self-explanatory, and hopefully when I sing the song it'll become further explained. So this is a premiere public performance of this song. I remember when we made them dance before a change of circumstance. Just a few survived somehow. They're the last band standing now. Every other bar was filled with sound till it all went underground. Some carried on in the open air, but only with weather fair. And now Johnny fits kitchens for a minimum wage, drinks every night to control the rage. He ain't been right since he sold his gear, paying the rent in a time of fear. The pretty things are back on the tools, the mavericks conforming to rules dictated by a cabal of fools. The pretty things are back on the tools, they're back on the tools. I remember when we used to hug. Performance high is such a powerful drug. Pop went pop as they shut off the juice. Reset the switch, but it was all no use. The ballerinas at the back of the queue, tiny dancers disappeared from view. Mavericks who ignored all the rules. And now the pretty thing's back on the tools. And now the band have gone their separate ways. It's the only way to survive these days. Closure, restriction, indiscriminate rules from a pack of upper-class, overprivileged fools. The pretty things are back on the tools. The mavericks conforming to rules dictated by a cabal of fools. The pretty things are back on the tools. I need to source my tools, 'cause my next job's in revolution. It's time we leveled up, time to share out the guns and ammunition. 'Cause this is my volition. It's a radical position, but it's a logical decision. Joe is on a building site, minimum pay. His nerves all shot, living day to day. Benny got a job as a delivery guy. Wife and baby back home, they never ever let him see him cry. Now I tip my head to the last band standing, and I will raise a glass to the last band standing. Now I tip my head to the last band standing. I will raise a glass to the last man standing. Now I tip my head to the last man standing. I will raise a glass to the last man standing. The pretty things are back on the tools. The mavericks conforming to rules dictated by to the last band standing. Thank you. Woo! Funny enough, all I had on my screen there was Brian Herdman. Is that could people see me, or could they just see Brian Herdman's name?
I can see you.
He's
Right.
there.
I don't know why, but you know,
on there, believe it
it's
or
pretty
not.
fucking disconcerting. Brian, are you
Always
winding me up, mate?
The good news is that we've got loads of people on Facebook tuning in, so we've got quite a nice audience now.
All right, my sound is okay, is it?
It sounds really good. I love your new song as well. I really love your new
Thank
song.
you. Yeah, just a co-writing credit there to Mr. Cy Hackers. He kind of really initiated that song, and he kind of washed and I wiped. Sorry, I've nicked that straight from Tom Waits. That's out of order.
Good song, boys.
Brian's back on the screen again. I don't get this. Every time I play my guitar, Brian Herdman's name pops up on my screen.
It's a good song. Can you hear me?
Cheers, Brian. You all right, mate?
Brian?
Yeah, I'm just putting my face up there because I don't want to distress anyone.
No, all right. You could turn your mic off and then it might go back to my camera on my screen. Okay. Anyway, as long as you can see me, it's just the fact that it's written really large on my screen. Okay. The next song, I can't remember if I played this at the last WonderZoo event or not. I can't remember when that was. Was it about September when I did one? And I was probably in the process of writing this song then.
September, I think, was the last gig you did with us. Was about September, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah. I might have played it. It might have been the first time I played it. But I'm going to play it again because I know it better now. So this is a song about... I grew up in up north in a place called Whitley, which is just out by Crownhill. It's not as far north as Manchester, I know, Brian, but it's north for me, North Plymouth. On the Whitley estate, biggest estate in the country, I think, when it was built. So this is a song about a glorious day in Whitley when after people had been living there for about 2 years, trudging through fields and without any roads, and then the first bus turned up. So it was like a glorious occasion, worthy of a song, I thought, like a proper folk song. So here we go. We feel stranded here, yet they think it's our riddle. Abandoned by those pushing pairs. They said you should be grateful, but you're troublemakers. They couldn't see it through our lens. And trudging through dark muddy fields, wet cement and tar. The daily run, the gauntlet thrown, contempt held from afar. We line the streets all gathered round. The day the first bus came to town, clapped and cheered and stamped the ground. The wheels so perfectly round, the horn a beautiful sound. So line the streets and gather round, 'cause today the first bus came to town. Times were hard back then, but then they always are. Still, there's no excuses. They built the house, but then they didn't build the road. All your platitudes were useless, like the farmers you sent packing. We all studied to relocate, but we came back stronger fighting, took control of our own fates. We lined the streets all gathered round. The day the first bus came to town, clapped and cheered and stamped the ground. The wheels so perfectly round, the horn a beautiful sound. So grab a seat and settle down, 'cause today the first bus came to town. Well, I come from a city that's just been destroyed. That's a repeat of a show that I want to avoid. And every new pavement and every new road brought joy to a people once sad to behold. We trip over memories and walk in the walls. The house where I was born still stands, whilst everything around it falls. We line the streets all gathered round. The day the first bus came to town, clapped and cheered and stamped the ground. The wheels so perfectly round, the horn a beautiful sound. So paint your face and we'll paint the town, 'cause today the first bus came to town. Today the first bus came to town. Everybody! Today the first bus came to town. So gather round. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
I like that song anyway.
I love that one, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Rob, I lived in Whitley for 5 years on Taunton Avenue.
All right, I lived on Budshead Road.
Oh,
Budshead
yeah,
Road.
really close, just round the corner.
Yes. I was born in Budshead Road.
Oh, yeah.
I went to
Taunton Avenue. Gee, Taunton Avenue is the place where the bus went from, the first bus.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they drove down and they had like this tea party and they made tea and cakes for the driver, and then the bus kind of pulled out of the top of Taunton Avenue and then went back in to the city centre. So
Oh, no, I didn't know
Not
that.
Whitley Bay in Yorkshire, is it? No.
No, it's a part of Plymouth. It's like...
when I said up north, I meant North Plymouth.
Well, yeah, I'd be confused, you see.
I'll explain.
When you said up north, I was like, I'm sure he said Whitley, but surely.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I thought, oh, Whitley Bay. I went there and it snowed on Easter Sunday. That was in May.
I went there in April once, and I was really disappointed because, like, I'm a little bit goth. But my son and I actually turned up in Whitby the weekend of the Goth Festival, and we hadn't known. And we like they're in mesh tops with eyeliner and shit. Like, I mean, my son was like 10.
Oh, yeah, vampires.
Long now. And we're like, we're not goth enough. Okay.
All right, shall I go again? I can explain. I can explain.
Nora.
The song leads me neatly to the next piece. I only know one spoken word thing that I've written, so I'm going to do that because it's like I spoke, and then I'm going to finish with one of my greatest hits. Somebody can laugh at that if they want. So I'm just, in case you're not noticing here, I'm rocking a very local hat, I, even though I'm from North Whitley, I still consider myself to be a proper Janner, and sometimes people say to me, Rob, what's a Janner? And thank you, I'm back on my screen now, and I say, they say it's someone who's born within sight of the sea. Well, you might not agree that applies to me. I might come from the north, from a place called Whitley, but I'm more of a Janner than you'll ever be. Well, I once had a break, lived in Bristol City. I came back to the muff because it wasn't for me. I crossed over the bridge and lived overseas. But Cornwall's no place for a Janner like me. I don't shop at Tesco or JS Sainsbury. I'm more partial to Londis and places like Aldi. I stick to the west end of town if I can, where Kirsty and Stacey are hatching a plan. The Westo Chippy is fine dining to me. Captain Jasper's the snack box in Ivor Jude Knee. It's all you can eat down at Buffet City. If you went there 9 times, then the 10th one was free. Well, it's not gourmet food, but it does it for me. I've been known to partake in a cafe latte. I went to the uni. I did Media Lab Arts. I studied Adorno and boring old farts. I went to the Tate, checked out Damien Hirst. It did nothing for me, but I still got a first. You don't have to be clever to get a degree. If I wasn't a Janner, I'd have 2 or 3. 2 guys in the Dolphin said, you're not from round here. I said, I've only come in for a nice quiet beer. My mum's from Catdown and my dad was from Swilly, but I'm more of a Janner than they'll ever be. I spend quite some time down in Plymouth City. I like to give every busker at least 50p. I like to hear a good song as it floats on the breeze, and I don't believe music should always be free. I like Crazy Arm, Vince Lee and Mad Dog McCree, and Marlo S. Tone is my favourite MC. I've gigged at the Thistle and down the Million. I was there at the birth of the PMC. Down on the Barbie, the missus and me got some grief from a chav as he pissed in the sea. He don't like your types, what he said to Mandy. I said, I'm more of a Janner than you'll ever be, mate. This is my final song about Kirsty and Stacey. She said, meet me down past the end, I'll buy you an either. We could do the charity shops, I could lend you a £5. We'll walk the long way around to get into Primark. Use the cop station entrance by that trash landmark. Because it's all students and posh folks at the top end of town. Later we can walk to Plymouth Hoe and stare at Plymouth Sound. Check the yachts and the Barbie, see how the other half live. Pick up 10 lighters from that market stall for just a couple of quid. We could take the kid to Janet Disney above you one day. Sit and watch your little face as she plays. Then we'll pay $5.99 for a drink and a chivery. 'Cause I'm sick of sitting at home waiting for the cavalry. Get some fish and chips and some drink on the way home. It's good telly tonight and I'm home alone. But we'll have to nick some stuff first, take it round to Brenda's. Swing by Wayne's, get some weed, we'll be back by EastEnders. I'm going to put my name down for a council flat. Get away from my little brother because he's such a fucking twat. Him and his dodgy mates, they go out slashing people's tyres, looking for random people to tax and stoking the fires. I'm gonna save some money up and visit my dad and Nick. He calls me little princess, says I can have my pick. But boys of trouble, I'd rather have you as my friend. At least with you I never have to pretend. I want to get my tongue pierced and a new tattoo, like my Monday budgie had me back in '92. Steve's with that Tracy now, I bet he hits her like he hit me. Which she's a bit of a slag, but it still seems like a pity. He used to go on about those fit girls on Hollyoaks, but he can hardly get it up with all that weed he smokes. He doesn't see the baby now, and that's how I want it to stay. I just hope I can find someone to care for us one day. Remember at school we used to dream all day. Johnny and Brad would come to take us away, but they never came, and now they're stuck down past the end. At least through all this shit I still have you, my friend. And one day you'll have your big day out. 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 There you go.
Woo!
Thank you, Rob. That was brilliant, as always.
Brilliant.
Thanks, guys. It's been a while since I've played to people.
That's an amazing song. I've heard that a few times now, but it never gets old.
No,
I like the spoken word as well. That was pretty good.
I've got to say, Rob, there's 2 songs of yours I don't have, actually. I feel like I've got millions of yours. That one, and I definitely don't have the nuclear one that you do, because I love that nuclear one.
Which one's that?
We talk about a nuclear war.
All right. Yeah, all right. I'll burn your CDs of those, Pete.
All right. Because those 2, man, I was like, oh my God, those, as local music, they're like one of my favourite songs for the South.
I don't think you can play that song on P-Town Radio, though. I've got a parental advisory version of it, actually.
Oh, we play what we want on P-Town Radio.
Oh, that's cool.
In
that case, I'll send it over to you tonight. All right, am I done?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.